Some of you probably haven't got a clue what you've come to, but others have seen an invitation that has the words B Corp on them, so I thought I'd explain a bit about what that is exactly. So to do that, I need to go slightly back in time, and I was thinking about this in the car the other day. I had a journey to make, and I've always had a very keen dislike or hatred, let's call it hatred, let's be a bit stronger, of injustice in the world. So I went to a good school in Manchester called Manchester Grammar School, some of you might have heard of that. But Manchester Grammar School is actually in a pretty rough part of Manchester, so this memory came to me this week, bizarrely, when I was thinking about injustice. But we used to actually get shot at by air rifles on the way home from school by what were called by the teachers the local gentry, which were just the local yobs, basically. So yeah, one of my friends took a bullet in the arse actually on his way home from school, which was slightly unpleasant for him. Anyway, that was quite a regular experience, and I so I was like, I got a free place as it happens to that school, but most of the kids in the school, like me, were from fairly privileged backgrounds, and I've always thought it was wrong, really, that some people had opportunities in life and others had less opportunities. So I've always been keen to give more people as many opportunities as possible. So I worked in the inner city, trying to repair some of the damage of Thatcherism. Let's not get too political at the moment, but the inner cities in London were a complete and utter embarrassment to the country in the 80s and early 90s, which was when I was there. So I worked in the charitable sector for 10, 13 years, trying to make the world a better place. I was quite young, very idealistic. To some people probably think I still am. But I've always had big goals of wanting to make the world a better place. So that's my way of doing that, was to work in various charity things in the inner city with drug addicts and criminals, young people with no parents and stuff like that. In fact, half my streets where I lived in London were in and out of Belmarsh prison, which was quite funny when we went to Belmarsh quite regularly on a Wednesday evening, and these people used to be shouting my name out of the cell windows when we walked in, and people I'd taken there wondered, who is this guy? He used to live here, did he? Anyway, I didn't, but I went to prison quite a lot, but I was generally on the right side of the bars. I digress. So I working in that situation, there's not a lot of money around, so I had to start earning some money somehow, and I thought, I'll tell you what I'll do. I've seen a few nice food shops in London on my travels, not where I lived, but why don't I buy some food products from the Cotswolds, as it happens, and sell them to shops and farm shops on the edge of London and Surrey and Kent. And that's how Cotswold Fayre started, and that's why the name is Cotswold Fayre, because the original few products were from the Cotswolds. Now, we should have probably changed our name fairly soon after we started, but we didn't. So for a few years, people thought it was a strange name, thought we only sold in the Cotswolds, which we didn't. We actually didn't sell in the Cotswolds at all at that time. But anyway, we're now reasonably well known, and it doesn't matter anymore. So when I started the business, it was continued to be an expression of what I was doing with the charity work. So of our first 5 employees, I had 1 ex-drug addict, 1 alcoholic, and 1 guy who just came out of prison. And we gave them work, and it was a complete disaster, actually. I realised fairly quickly that 60% of people employed who had fairly serious issues wasn't really the way forward. Didn't make any money. Lost, actually, One had a gambling issue as well. So the wages disappeared one week, never to be seen again. Anyway, so decided for a few years, right, actually we need to turn this into a proper business and make some money and actually have a reasonably stable base, which we did, and the business grew. Fortunately for us, the whole specialty food thing was growing well. At that time we started properly in 1999, so it's our 20th birthday next year actually. So, but really for the most of the first half of that we were just trying to survive, build the business. In the second 10 years, 9 years really, we've gone back to a lot of the stuff I was trying to do originally. So we were heavily involved, those few of you who came to the ball in the summer were heavily involved in a project in Kenya. We've got quite a lot of other initiatives. We've always been, I hope they agree, the ones that are here, always been treating our team well. We share our profits and lots of other things like that. About 3 years ago, we were doing quite a lot of this stuff. About 4 years ago, through a guy who runs a business called Cook, you might have heard of, frozen food shops, Ed, who's a friend of mine, he said, I've just been to this amazing conference in America, and it's B Corp. So I said, it sounds far too American for me to want anything to do with it, actually. Not that Americans, I love many of them, but it sounded a bit far removed. But when I found out a bit more about it, I realised that here was a group of businesses actually believed a lot of the same stuff we did, and were doing probably in a far better way, actually, many of them. And it was great to realise there were other people in the world who didn't just have business as a way of making as much money as possible for the owners, but also tried to change the world for better through what they were doing, and which is what we've been trying to do for many years. And here was a load of other people who actually were doing the same stuff. And incredibly, I mean, I've since been to a couple of conferences like that, which are incredibly inspiring, incredibly challenging. And we became a B Corp in 2015, one of the first posse, or cohort, I think the official word is, of UK businesses. And there's about 50, was it 55?
62.
62, okay. Now I couldn't make the launch event. Ashton and Lisa went to the launch event in Camden for that. Since then it's grown to 180-ish.
184 here, yes.
Yeah, okay, in the UK. Katie works for B Labs, which is the
You would
support.
never
I'm going to
guess.
get her on. Hold them up on screen. So yes, it's something that a lot of people in the UK still haven't heard of, but they are going to be hearing more and more about it as time goes on. So there's now an ambassador program, one of the UK ambassadors of B Corp, which isn't why we're doing this. We're doing this because we want B Corp to move more out of London, actually. Thames Valley seemed a good place to start. I have actually written a book on this stuff, which I might as well plug now. It's due out mid-March, and that is not just my story, it's stories of lots of other businesses doing this and how businesses are changing the world.
What's it called?
For better. The book, well, since Katie's actually written one of the commendations for it, I've not had to, but I have changed the name. Because the marketing people at the publishers thought the name wasn't marketable enough. So it's now called Forces for Good, actually. Rather than Accidentally on Purpose was my name, which I thought was rather good. I even bought the domain name. But they thought that sounded a bit too autobiographical, if that's the word. And anyway, it's Forces for Good, creating a better world through purpose-driven businesses is the strapline. It's being typeset at the moment, and if we have another of these events, you'll all get a free copy. Anyway, Katie, you come and say a bit more about
Thank you.
B Corp in the UK.